Hello. Well, this live stream is for you as a primary teacher if you are really struggling with stress and anxiety or depression and you feel like you're not coping just now. I'm not coping either. I normally live stream at 9 in the morning, properly dressed, put a bit of bronzer on, maybe a bit of lipstick. It's 2 in the afternoon. I'm not getting dressed today. And the normal box of tissues have been replaced with this, and this isn't a cup of tea, it's a lemsip. First thing, if you're really struggling, big love to you. I have been there, absolutely been there. And the first thing to say is that going through this is a good thing. I know it doesn't feel like it at the time. The best people who you meet have absolutely been there. There was a webinar at the Chartered College of Teaching this week by Ben Levison, and he talked about how as a head teacher he struggles with stress and anxiety, and he just puts it out there with his staff and talks about it in a normal way. And the best leaders are the people who have been there and can do that. So on a positive note, hopefully this journey will take you somewhere better, where you can reach more people and touch more people. But of course, if you're up to your eyes in it just now, you probably can't see what's going on. You're probably just completely overwhelmed. Most people who are struggling with stress, anxiety and depression, they can't see why it is in the moment. They have a sense of why it is, but it's usually focused on the things just around them. And of course, there may be much wider issues going on which are really causing it. When I've struggled with these things in my life, it's often been a year before I have really seen it as it is. So what do you do about it? You need some short-term, immediate help to deal with the symptoms. And you also need some connection, some counselling, whether that's formal counselling or from just a wise person who you know is going to help you take the life journey that you need to take to address it properly. So lots of teachers just now, I mean, the reason I'm making this is I normally make live streams about aspects of maths teaching that people are asking about on Facebook, and just reading the conversations today, so many people are completely on their knees struggling that I changed my mind and I'm doing this instead. Lots of teachers will naturally come to a Thursday where they just go home ill, and it's mainly the stress and the anxiety and everything, but it's a week when they've got some symptoms, and there's so much about just now it's going to happen. And it's an important life strategy is just knowing when to go home as a teacher, because a key thing is you need to sleep, because you can't see things clearly, you can't make rational decisions, you can't stand back and puzzle out how to change things. You may also need to contact your GP, and I'll talk about that in a minute, and it's really difficult to do if you're at school. So get yourself home unless you're absolutely sure that you have a strategy to deal with this that doesn't need that. Sleep. Chat to your GP, chat to your union, tell them what's going on. Try and get some immediate strategies in place to help. So if you're not sleeping, ask for help with not sleeping and get some strategies in place that are likely to help. If you're struggling with anxiety, ask for help. You may get some counselling quite quickly. I did this year, and it was absolutely brilliant. The kind of strategies you learn are things like feet flat on the floor, noticing things visually that you didn't notice before, tuning into the sounds around you that you weren't hearing before, stimulating your sense of smell. When you slow down, you often end up having a good cry because this is just overwhelming. I mean, we're all here. Look at the gap between the teacher we wanted to be and where we are just now. It's overwhelming. It's so disappointing to be here instead of being the amazing person who's reaching every child who you wanted to be. But after that initial few days when you sleep, deal with immediate things as best as you can. You need some one-to-one help. You need to ask a GP, ask a union, and you should be able to talk to someone at school once you've had that initial sort of crisis. There should be someone that you can talk to. You may feel that there's not, but often you find there is. And if you are in the kind of school where there genuinely isn't, and this is only going to be used against you, you have to know that, and you probably need to be out of that school. And you think you won't cope, but people do. There's an app called Headspace, which seems to be free for teachers just now. There's ways of getting it. It usually costs about £50. And it takes you through those massive life changes that you don't want and you don't think you can cope with. So, if this is you, huge, huge, huge hugs. But nobody ever told you that you were going to be a fabulous teacher who was in control all the time and doing an amazing job. Part of being a teacher is going through this. And being someone who's comfortable in your own skin is not about being brilliant all the time and therefore being comfortable in your own skin because you're brilliant. It's about learning to be comfortable in your skin when you are not okay and you need to ask for help and you need to take a journey. There was a programme on TV this week on Channel 4 in the UK called Don't Exclude Me, and the teachers in that programme were just amazing teachers, but you could sense how much they didn't feel that at the moment those programmes were made because they were not coping and they would have needed a lot of support to go through that and put themselves out there. I found it helpful to watch that. I'm going to be interviewing in my interview series Steve Waters on his book Cultures of Staff Wellbeing, which is case studies of schools that have tried to improve staff wellbeing. Doing that interview this week. I'm looking forward to it. On my channel, I share videos of how to teach maths which work in crisis situations. I hope you found them useful. If you go to playlists, there's a particular playlist for the crisis situation classes. There's one for each year group which address head-on the most serious challenges that teachers are facing post-lockdown. But mainly, I wish you well. You're going to be okay. It just doesn't feel like it. Don't be fobbed off. Don't categorise yourself as being someone who will always struggle with these things. There's reasons for it that need to be addressed, and there are strategies that you need to learn to cope with what you're struggling with just now. And over time you will be able to do that, even if there is sometimes more steps backwards than there are steps forward. Big hugs to you. Take care. Bye for now.